Greetings to you, brethren. Today is Monday of the 20th week in Ordinary Time, and our gospel for today is taken from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew chapter 19, verses 16 to 22. Actually, this is a story of a young rich man who once came to Jesus to ask some couple of questions on what must he do to attain eternal life. So it reads as follows. And now a man came to him and asked, Master, what good deed must I do to possess eternal life? Jesus said to him, Why do you ask me about what is good? There is one alone who is good. But if you wish to enter into life, keep the commandments. He said, Which ones? Jesus replied, This: you shall not kill, you shall not commit adultery, you shall not steal, you shall not give false witness, honor your father and your mother, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. The young man said to him, I have kept all this. What more do I need to do? Jesus said, If you wish to be perfect, go and sell your possessions and give the money to the poor, and you will have treasure in heaven. Then come, follow me. But when the young man heard these words, he went away sad, for he was a man of great wealth. So in this passage, we find the rich man and Jesus. But what is so interesting is the rich man was so curious to know what must he do to attain salvation. But let us not forget, the story starts, a young rich man came to Jesus. So the reason this man came to Jesus and asked such questions, what must he do to attain the eternal life, is because he might lack something in his life or in his heart. So maybe he had all wealth, maybe he had respect from people, maybe he had been faithful to his wife, he might have done all good deeds, he might have done all what is necessary for the poor, he might have had good behavior and good personality before humanity, but he felt inside himself that something was wrong. He needed conversion. That's the reason he came to Jesus and asked him, what must he do? So, and this one is clear when Jesus taught him that keep the commandments. And he said, I have kept all the commandments in my life, and what else must I do to attain the eternal life? So, actually, Jesus brought this man to spiritual realization that although this he completed and well fulfilled, there was one thing that he needed to do, just to get rid of the attachments. When this man heard this, he became angry and sorrowful. So Jesus was not trying to dismiss this man, but to make him realize that external law were not enough for attaining the eternal life. Jesus tries to make him aware that external life is not something to get in exchange with something else. Unlike in our modern world, it's not a matter of exchange like this man said, what must I do to attain something? It's not what you give, then you get something back. Jesus realized that this young man was held back by possessions. His place of God in the heart was taken up by possessions, that is money. He wants to follow Christ, but he wants to serve both God and mammon. And this is impossible, as it is elucidated in Matthew chapter 6, verse 24. So, applying this in our lives, we are in the same longing for eternal life, but deep into our hearts and deep in our inner beings are possessions that pull us back. This can be either alcohol, drugs, sex for self-satisfaction, money, witchcraft, immoral tradition, practices, all the possessions, you can name them. We are mostly deceived by external appearances and external acts, then we think that we will attain external life. So Jesus tries to bring this man to self-realization that it is not a matter of external righteousness. So in this modern world, or in our lives also, in our present days, it is not a matter of being a pastor, it's not a matter of being a priest, it's not a matter of being a prophet, a great charismatic leader, and all the kind of ministries that we have a guarantee that we shall attain eternal life. That does not mean like that. It is not a matter of outward morality, but it is about our inner beings and conversions and detachment from all what holds us back. One thing only we need to realize: we can be good in all the commandments, we can fulfill all the commandments, but we can be trapped by only a little thing or a possession that hinder us to attain the eternal life. So in the present days, many of us, we need God's blessings in our lives, but we don't want to allow God to dwell into our life and in our hearts, because His place is taken up by the possessions. As I have said it earlier, this cannot only be money, but it can be other things, as I have elucidated. It can be alcohol, it can be pornography, it can be sexual desires, and all those we can mention them. If this take up God's place in our hearts, then it will be a great hindrance that we may find and search for eternal life. Therefore, we need to take note three things. Number one, eternal life is not something to receive in exchange with good deeds. Number two, laws are not enough, but we must scrutinize our inner beings. We must go deep into our hearts and see what possessions are holding us back from attaining the eternal life. And the last one, if we keep on allowing possessions to take the place of God in our hearts, then we cannot attain the kingdom of heaven. So remember Matthew chapter 6 verse 24. No one can serve two masters. Amen.